Lieutenant Governor of Delhi has approved a CBI probe into irregularities, corruption in the procurement of 1,000 low-floor buses by the DTC. Essentially, this is the latest information that we have. There have been multiple complaints, and now what has happened is that the LG has approved a CBI probe into the irregularities and corruption in the procurement of 1,000 low-floor buses by the DTC. This is the latest flashpoint between the AAP and the LG. Now I'm crossing over to my colleague Akash to give us more details on this. Akash, over to you.
So, Aisha, this is the major development that we are getting from the national capital and in the backdrop of the investigation and the politics that is happening over the excise policy and also in the classroom case. So this time, Lieutenant Governor has basically approved the proposal of Chief Secretary of Delhi, where he has, asked for the forwarding of a complaint that is in concern with the procurement of 1,000 low-floor buses by the DTC. And in that complaint, this particular complaint was received in June 2022, addressing to the LG. And, there are several points. And these points includes the very complaint that was initially made by the BJP, in fact. And you must be remembering the time when the Kailash Gehlot, who is the Transport Minister of Delhi, was made chairman of DTC. At that time also we saw a political hall where it was said that you can't make a political person a chairman of a board, a DTC board. But, it somehow happened. But as of now, we know that there is a case already going on, an investigation already going on in this DTC procurement case. But this is the major development where LG has now, in fact, forwarded a complaint. In fact, has recommended a CBI probe, in fact, we can say, in the procurement case where there are allegations that, some sort of irregularities happened in this particular tender process where, a tender was floated for 1,000 DTC buses, and it was said, initially that two types of buses were, basically there was a plan to procure two types of buses, BS4 buses and BS6 buses, and only two companies turned out in that particular case. Also, while talking about these two companies, so rate was a bit different in both the cases, but, only one company was given priority, given that, there was much difference of the rate. So as of now, there are many allegations in this particular case, and there are claims that Vijendra Gupta, who is the former LOP of the Delhi and a BJP leader, was called in by the CBI for these statements. But as of now, this has been recommended that now this case will further be investigated by CBI. In fact, this will be...
All right, Akash, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you. We are now being joined by Mr. Harish Khurana from the BJP. Mr. Khurana, thank you so much for joining us. We have breaking inputs about how the LG of Delhi has now approved a CBI probe into irregularities when it comes to the procurement of 100 DTC buses. Could you give us your first reaction to this, please?
These are 1,000 buses, and this complaint was been filed by our LOP, former LOP leader, Mr. Vijendra Gupta, a few years back. And this time the LG has approved the file, and we welcome that decision. But the thing is, we can say another corruption case by the Delhi government. Well, first it was liquor scam, then a classroom scam, and now the DTC scam, which has come out. This shows that the whole government is now involved in all the sectors of Delhi government is involved in corruption. And few more cases are coming now, and we have more proofs on the corruptions. So we demand the resignation of Transport Minister now, but unfortunately, Arvind Kejriwal is not taking any action on any of the ministers. One minister is in jail. Second minister has serious charges of CBI and CBI raids has been happened on Manish Sisodia. Now the Kailash Gehlot. I mean, what is happening is corruption. That's it.
Mr. Khurana, is your party going to be approaching the president to seek the removal of the AAP government?
We have already seen the time. Once we got the time, but unfortunately on that day some VVIP dignitaries was there in India, so that was been cancelled. We have already approached from the president, and we are soon going to be we'll go to the president of India and seek the demand. We'll demand the removal of this government. But on the other hand, this government is being exposed actually. They used to talk about the corruption charges and say they should resign first and then face the charges. Now, what is happening after coming to the power, we have seen the serious allegation has been levied, minister is in jail, still no action has been taken by the government. This shows the double standard of the government. Once they were out of the government, he says about the corruption one criteria was something else. Now the criteria is something else. So this government has no moral right also to stay in the government. I think Kejriwal should step down now.
All right, now, Mr. Khurana, I do have one final question for you. Essentially, what we've heard from the AAP and from other opposition parties as well is that your party misuses central agencies for their own gains, for your own advantages. What do you have to say in response to this?
A very simple answer on this. When we were in opposition, who was the culprit that time? A. Raja, they were in government that time. Lalu Yadav, they were in government that time. I mean, if you see the series of the people who were being convicted or who were being charged, was in that time also in the government. If you see that. So at that time also when we were in opposition, no BJP leader was been charged anytime. So if they have any problem with the BJP people, so and they have a proof against us, go to the court now. What they're waiting for? I mean, if they should believe in the legal system of our country. I mean, if they have the proof, go to the court now.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Harish Khurana, thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us about this topic. Now I'm crossing back